He is like a tree planted by streams of water that yields fruit in its season. My season came in an unexpected way. My season came from running away from God to drugs to failure and eventually death. But from that death, God brought life. A seed must fall to the ground and die before it produces life. You may take that metaphorically, but I'm going to tell you a story how to me it was quite literal. I was in misery. I was at the bottom of the bottoms where all I could look was up, and I got tired of living, and I dared God. I said, God, why don't you take my life from me? Go ahead. I do not care anymore. I'm tired of this pain going on in my life. You see, I blamed everyone else around me because I lost my wife, because I failed as a father, because I failed as a husband. But God made me choose and see that it was all me. And as soon as I dared God to take my life, an hour later, I died and overdosed from a shot of heroin. As Jonah fled from God's purpose for his life, I fled from God's surrender for mine. My ambulance was Jonah's boat. Jonah's well were my drugs. His 3 days were my 3 minutes in the back of that ambulance. Next thing, all I can remember was hearing God's voice saying, never test me with your life ever again. It stops now. But it was dark. As soon as I said, okay, Lord, my eyes opened, but there was nobody working on me. I see 3 people in the back of the ambulance look like they had saw a ghost looking at me saying, oh my gosh. They had called a code blue. Going into the hospital, that means a dead man. God had saved my life that day. Next thing I remember is waking up in the hospital. And when I came to, I started jerking out all the IVs and all the tubes. And the nurses says, what are you doing? You were just dead. I told them I'm alive now. And I walked up out of that hospital, and on my way out, I grabbed a shirt that the EMTs had cut off of me. I didn't realize at that moment. When I got home, I took a look at that shirt. When I looked at the shirt, tears started rolling down my eyes. He is like a tree planted by streams of water that yields its fruit in season. It was my season. I had to lose my life and surrender to God to gain my life again. I was a dead man walking. You're never too far gone. You've never walked too far away from God. You've never done too many things. You've never failed enough time, because God says in its season. God's timing for your season may not be yours. Have you lost your life in order to gain it? I became a free man that day, and I began my journey to where I am now, sharing the love of Christ with the lost, sharing my testimony